What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope you're ready for today because it is the return of Twitch picks. Basically, every now and then, I let my Twitch chat make my life a living nightmare, where for some reason, I let them choose my teams. Sometimes you get some good Pokemon, a lot of the times you don't, but it's always a lot of fun. So let's get into the battles and see what they have in store for me. All right, first game. I have no idea what the team is. Apparently, there's an Amoonguss on it against an Alolan Sandslash, and this is one of the worst spots I could have possibly imagined myself being in. We are triple weak to A-Slash in the lead. We're going to try our best, though, with our Astonish Amoonguss to potentially chip down this Pokemon, make it so our Dragons in the backline have a little bit more play. Ice Punch does not one-shot us, which I guess is a silver lining. It's not great that it still does so much damage, but Foul Play going to be thrown. It does a decent chunk of damage to them, but honestly, they outpace us here. This is not looking great. With that said, they actually let us reach a foul play in just a second here, which means maybe they're going for a one shield farm down. If that is the case, I can't really let them get that much energy. I swap into my Shadow Palkia. I'm no shielding this guy. I mean, at this point, it's Shadow Palkia, right? What is it going to do? Not much. It nearly gets a one shot. That's not even super effective damage, but I'm able to actually reach an Aqua Tail against, I believe that was a Shadow Whiscash. This should do quite a bit of damage. Maybe we have a little bit of play after all in this game. It doesn't quite one-shot them here, but it does put them deep into the yellow, into a nice farm down range for my second Water and Dragon type Pokemon, Shadow Kingdra. Dragon Breath once again is adding up quite a bit. It's likely going to be a Mud Bomb being thrown. It would do a lot of damage. I have to shield something up. No, they actually go for a Scald. I guess they know they only get one move. Might as well try for a debuff. Luckily for me, we don't get debuffed. In comes the Alolan Sandslash. They get a shield from me. Maybe they're weak to Kingdra in the backline, but I am going to be down shields. I have no idea if we have any chance here. They come in with a Shadow Blastoise. Okay, maybe winnable, actually. I have a catch opportunity. All I need to make sure I can do is catch a Skull Bash, and we can win this game. Octazooka does not get a debuff here. We absolutely need a catch, and there it is. Blastoise wasting all of its energy into the Amoonguss, the funny little mushroom catching the Skull Bash, and because now we have so much energy on our Kingdra, we can outpace them here, knock out the Shadow Blastoise through the defense boost with our Outrage. I don't know how he just did it here. Apparently, Amoonguss double Water Dragon types able to win the first game of the day. All right, next matchup is a Wigglytuff in the lead, a Pokemon I don't normally use myself here. Honestly, a very interesting team on our side. We have a Shadow Swampert, I believe, in the backline, as well as a Go-Goat, but a Shadow Drapion in the lead from our opponent. While I know some good Wigglytuffs can survive two Aqua Tails, my Wigglytuff sucks. It's not that great. I need to build another one, but at this point, we do survive that move, and we are able to counter-swap to this Lapras with our Go-Goat. I know I do have access to Vine Whip as well as Leaf Blade, which can outpace them pretty heavily, but I'm not sure if it's enough damage to knock them out here before they're able to reach a second charge move. In comes the first Leaf Blade. Do they no-shield? Do they survive the move? I guess is another question. Leaf Blade being thrown, it is able to knock them out, which is nice to see, and then in comes that Drapion, which is not really that much of a surprise. Leaf Blade is going to do a lot more damage than Brick Break despite being resisted because Brick Break is not a strong move, and for some reason Leaf Blade is just one of the best moves in the game. We go for a Brick Break now. That might have been CMP. If it was, that's actually fantastic for us. This will debuff their defense stat as well as force them to throw energy into our Go-Go. We can come back in Wigglytuff potentially, try to charm this down, but we also have a Shadow Swampert in the back line that could farm this down and get a nice energy lead against their final Pokemon. Well, in comes their Claydol here as their final pick. This Pokemon does not want to take a Hydro Cannon from a Shadow Swampert. Because of that, I should be able to either knock them out or come very close to it, put them into a fast move farm down range. We'll go for a charm down if we can with our Wiggles. At this point, not much they can do here. There's no HP left over across the board. We're able to charm down everything and take the win in that game. Next matchup, we're going to see a Skeleturge as our lead up against an Emolga. I guess the most classic lead matchup you're going to see in the Open Great League, and my backline an Abomasnow, it looks like, and a Shadow Dragonite. So not exactly the most meta team by me right now. I'm just hoping that they go for a Discharge Bait, I can survive it, and then land a Torch Song to start ramping up my damage. They actually full send an Acrobatics, nearly one-shots us here. Might as well just full send the Shadow Ball. I'm not going to get another Incinerate off in this game. Might as well either get a Guaranteed Shield or a Knockout against this Pokemon. In comes our Abomasnow as our Say-Swap, and we are met by a Shadow Drapion. Not the best scenario, but honestly, it could be worse, right? We're able to survive because of the fast moves not doing too much damage to us to reach two Weather Balls. And honestly, but we could either shield this move up and have a lot of HP, or no shield, knowing it's likely just a crunch, survive the move, and get to yet another Weather Ball to either knock out or come very close to knocking out this Shadow Drapion. We do have a shield advantage Shadow Dragonite now, which now we have a 2 shield advantage Shadow Dragonite. That might be helpful, but they go for a full Poison Sting down, which likely means they will get a shield back from us right now. With that said, Dragon Breath is ripping through their health. There is some energy on that Emolga, and there is an unknown final Pokemon in this game. Well, there it is. We see it. It's going to be a Diggersby, a Pokemon that, while they do have a lot of resisted charge moves against us, the fast moves are going to add up. I still have to no-shield, though. I know an Emolga or potentially a Drapion would do more damage. Fire Punch being thrown does not quite knock us out here. I'm going to go for the Superpower before another Fire Punch is going to be reached. This is either going to knock out or come very close to doing that. superpower is enough just barely to knock out here. In comes the Shadow Drapion, and at this point, they do reach a charge move on 1 HP. I know Emolga does have a move I have to catch if I want a chance to win this game, or at least I can catch if I want to. I'm going to go for it here. Why not? We know at this point I also need to clear the debuff that I have. We are able to catch the Discharge, or maybe an Acrobatics at this point. No, it is the Discharge, but we have a Dragon Breath and a Dragon Claw that we can throw. Go for the knockout against this Emolga. Shadow Dragonite able to close out this backline with that 2 shield sweep. GG to our opponent. Next game, we're going to see our Shadow Shiftry, what the heck, into a Shadow Piloswine. I guess maybe they're doing Twitch picks too, who's to say? Shadow Piloswine's an amazing pick, but it's not a Pokemon I want to see. In comes our Milotic as our Say Swap, probably met by the worst imaginable matchup. Honestly, this game is going to be a loss. There's like no chance we have here. I know Dragon Tail is neutral against this Pokemon, but Dragon Tail is not going to make up for the fact that they have a lot of neutral pressure against us, and we are doing a ton of resisted damage into them. In comes almost certainly a Shadow Ball into our Milotic. We can survive this move just barely, but I know at this point, unless I can reach a Blizzard, there's no way I can knock them out. They actually let us reach this move, though. Maybe they don't expect a Blizzard. This might actually be enough damage to knock them out. They no-shield. We knock them out here. We do flip switch, but keep in mind, we have a Tinkaton in the backline, which if they do have high horsepower on the Piloswine, this could still be pretty bad for us. And yeah, I guess they don't even need switch. They have a Shadow Drapion. Their team is so strong against our Shadow Shiftry. Not much play that we have here. I know I technically resist all of the charges here on Shadow Drapion unless they are running Sludge Bomb, which is not very common. So I bring in my Shadow Shiftry in this matchup, hoping that maybe I can make something happen. We do actually get a shield here from that move, which is a little surprising to me. I think at this point, maybe shield up this move myself. I know Leaf Blade is a very powerful move. Maybe I can catch. I don't quite get the catch here, but we still force energy from our opponent. Tinkaton is going to survive this move. I would assume that might mean they're not on high horsepower on that Piloswine. If that is the case, maybe we still have a chance here. In comes another Aqua Tail. It will do about another third of my HP here. Tinkaton does survive. Heavy Slam being thrown. We don't have Bulldoze right now on this moveset. Might come in to bite us here, saying it does take a bit more energy. They also shield up that move. I wish I had Bulldoze right now, but we'll see if we have any chance here. I know they have a ton of energy on that Piloswine. This Drapion as well is almost at another charge move. I'm going to shield to try to knock them out if I can, but they end up going for yet another attack against us. The only chance I have to win this game is calling when they're going to swap out with their Piloswine. I need to make sure when they swap out here, I can react in time, go for the Leaf Blade on CMP against this Pokemon, and as long as I can outpace that Drapion to another Leaf Blade, I might be able to win this one here. We're able to win CMP, somehow Shadow Shiftry able to come through in the backline. That is crazy. I have no idea how that just happened, but we're able to win in this game. Milotic, I guess, also put in quite a bit of work. GG to our opponent. Next game is an Annihilate. What the heck is up with this? Into our Scrafty of all things. I guess Milotic's back here. We have our Dragon Tail Fast Food Pressure. Surf would do quite a bit of damage if I can end up landing it, but they do throw a charge move here before I can throw on good timing. And comes a Rage Fist probably from our opponent. We do survive the move, but it does chip us down quite a bit, and then they swap into a Jump Fluff. This isn't great. If they no-shield Blizzard, I guess we could one-shot them. I feel like, though, they're never going to do that. They know it takes so much time to get to this move. If they do shield that properly, they might even go for a full farm down against us. Okay, at least we get a little bit bailed out here. They do throw energy, but the problem is that Annihilate still has a lot of energy, and my final Pokemon in this game isn't even that great into that Pokemon. It's a Shadow Nidoqueen. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Shadow Nidoqueen. I have a Nidoqueen plushie like right there behind me, but this Pokemon is a relic of the past. I don't think it has anywhere near as much play as I would like it to. We do shield up properly, though, with that first charge. If I can shield up another Acrobatics here, or Energy Ball, I did not see what move they had. It was an Energy Ball, actually, yeah. So if we can shield that up properly, go for a full farm down, potentially we have 100 energy on Nidoqueen. We might be able to make something happen if they bring in Ape here, but they only bring in Ape here if their final Pokemon is also weak to Nidoqueen. Okay, well, I guess they do bring in their final Pokemon. It's going to be a Bastiodon of all things, a Pokemon that Earth Power is very much super effective into, but now that they've drained her energy, that is a very smart play. They swap into Annihilate, and now I go for the classic Nidoqueen strategy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Poison Fang. Just spam out these moves as quickly as we can. In comes a Charge Attack. If it's an Ice Punch, we might get knocked out. If it's a Power Punch or a Rage Fist, rather, we do survive. We survive the Rage Fist. We get this on CMP. This should knock out the Annihilate, or at the very least, be able to get them into farm down range. We're able to farm them all the way down with our Scrafty of all things. In comes a Basti, or not even. We're able to win the game somehow. GG to our opponent. Next matchup is... okay, well, I guess we need to see this here. We have two Flying-type Pokemon in the backline. Basti, one of the worst possible Pokemon for a Shadow Charizard or a Noctowl to see. Luckily, though, these superpowers are going to do quite a bit to Basti. Let's see if they want to shield with that first move or if they'll let it go. They do let go of the first move, and now I'm going to throw on alignment just in case they wanted to CMP us. I want to make sure to either draw a shield or get them as low as possible. We do draw a shield here, and because of that, now Malamar has done its main job of whittling down this Bastiodon, and because I'm able to shield this up, outpace them to the next move, might as well keep Malamar alive, keep the Smackdown Pokemon away from our 2 Flying-type Pokemon in the back. We overfarm as much as we can. At this point, though, if they do opt to shield this move, I'm fine letting this go. I have a shield advantage Shadow Charizard in that case in the back, or I guess not, they do opt to let that go, and in comes a Galarian Corsola. Keep in mind, we are a triple debuffed Malamar at this point. This is not going to do a lot of damage, but it will chip them down just a little bit. I come in my Noctowl, which they are not swapping out of just yet. I guess they do have Power Gem, which is super effective into us, but I can still survive this move, potentially land a Nightshade into them, and put them very low. Power Gem is easily enough here to two-shot us, but I can go for a Nightshade in just a second. I have no idea what's in the back, but they haven't swapped out yet. I wouldn't be surprised with the Grass-type Pokemon, saying Basti plus Grass is a very common pairing, and at least in the past it used to be. In comes actually a Fighting-type Pokemon, another pick that are 2 flyers in the backline actually has a ton of play into. Nightshade does draw that first shield. Shadow Charizard coming in, doing a massive amount of wing attack damage, instantly going for this Dragon Claw. This won't knock them out, but it will put them very low into wing attack farm down range. Annihilate does end up surviving that move, but at this point, if I shield this attack up, I can guarantee that I can wing attack down the rest of the HP on that Corsola. Night Slash, what the heck? This trainer is also living in the past here. I am surprised they're not even on Rachis, but we're able to win that game. GG to our opponent. Next game, we're going to see, okay, well, we're really spicing it up now. Shadow Sharpedo double electric into an Azumarill lead. We see a Claydol counter swap into us. That is not looking great right now. With that said, we do have Lunge, which is super effective into Claydol. Although the timing was so awkward, I probably should have thrown this before a potential Rock Stream debuff, but we can still get off 2 of these Lunges here and potentially maybe get a shield back from this Pokemon. Lunge is super effective into Claydol. It does also lower their attack stat. Let's see what we can do. We do end up lowering their attack. We go for another Lunge in just a second. We don't have Discharge, if you've noticed. We actually have access to Cross Poison, which is a very cool play, because now, if they don't know that I have only a Cross Poison of energy, they just see I throw a charge move, maybe they think I have another Lunge, maybe we can get a second shield from them, which is exactly what ends up happening. They are now double debuffed. I come in with my Shadow Sharpedo. If you guys have no idea what this Pokemon does, it's one of the squishiest Pokemon in the entire game. This move is still going to basically one-shot us despite being at -2 attack, and we try to go for a full farm down. It doesn't quite work out for us because of that debuff, but now Shadow Sharpedo will go down. They had that Azumarill in the lead matchup. All right, you're going to try to Volt Switch down this Pokemon and now potentially start sweeping the backline. What are they going to bring in? Hello? Nothing. I guess Raichu just sweeps. I love to see that. GG to our opponent. Somehow that team just won a game. All right, next matchup. Okay, if this team wins a game, I'm going to be pretty surprised. Wigglytuff, Shadow Gallade, Shadow Venomoth. I don't think you guys have ever seen a Shadow Venomoth in the Open Great League. I definitely haven't, probably for a pretty good reason here. Quagsire into our Wigglytuff lead. Not the best, not the worst lead matchup to be in. I'd love to get a shield advantage, though. If they do end up shielding this move, I'd be pretty happy. Our opponent is going to shield up the move. There we go. That is going to potentially set up our Shadow Gallade for a nice little farm down, and using Shadow Gallade's energy of Leaf Blade and close combat, potentially we can make something happen in the backline. Aqua Tail does knock us out there. Our Psycho Cut's going to farm them down, but not before a parting shot of an Aqua Tail will be reached. This will draw our first shield. I am going to farm all the way down, though, and use this energy against whatever is going to come in. Our opponent thinking for just a second here, and then they come in with the Clodsire, so the double Sire team, not exactly what you want to see here as Gallade. While we do have super effective Psycho Cut, it's not a strong fast move. It's not going to add up too quickly, and Leaf Blade is going to be only neutral damage, so I'm not quite able to two-shot. They also look like they are on the moveset of Sledge Bomb rather than Stone Edge, which means they are way spammier to charge moves here than I'd like them to be. I will knock it to 3 Leaf Blades before they're able to get to another charge attack against us. Leaf Blade being thrown into this Clodsire. We're able to land the move here. I'm going to try to catch a move on our Venomoth. It doesn't quite work out, and Mandibuzz in the backline. All right, well, they have us here, unfortunately. We know that Venomoth with Poison Fang is not going to do much. Psywave is our fast move, and in comes the charges from this Mandibuzz. Aerial Ace is super effective, but we all know it's not the strongest move. I can survive one, but Venomoth is not going to be able to survive the next move when it ends up getting thrown. I don't have Bug Buzz here. I don't even know if this Pokemon learns Bug Buzz, but maybe they think I have like a heavy hitting nuke. Maybe they shield this move. If they do shield, okay, hold on. Maybe there's a chance here. It's not a good chance, but there is like a small chance we could win this game. All I need to do is get to enough energy on my Gallade here to knock out this Mandibuzz. They actually undercharged on that charge move. They were trying to farm us down, but our switch clock was back up. I can swap into our Gallade, go for a close combat, knock them out thanks to the -2 defense, get to a Leaf Blade. Out of nowhere, we just won this game. Shadow Gallade able to close this one out. I have no idea how that just happened, but you know, We take those. All right, next game, Noctowl in the lead against Shadow Sableye. All right, well, this time a very good lead matchup. Let's see what we can do. Our backline, what is that? A Breloom and a low kicks. In comes a Dugong. Honestly, our Breloom, not the most consistent answer here to the Ice-type Pokemon. Unfortunately, these Ice Shards are adding up quite a bit against us. In fact, I think they might just farm us all the way down. This is not looking as good as I would have liked it to be. If we had like a real fighting-type Pokemon here, we'd be RPSing this opponent pretty hard right now. But because our Breloom is what we have on our team, thanks to my Twitch chat, it is going to get completely farmed down and give this thing way too much energy. I would assume whatever their final Pokemon is will be at least somewhat better into our Noctowl than the Sableye, so I think Noctowl's not going to have a lot of play in the back line, but I think our Low-Kicks might. With that said, they actually end up swapping out here back into that Shadow Sableye, which is a little bit interesting in my opinion. I'm surprised they wouldn't have just let that farm down happen. Potentially that means either they are weak to our low kicks or they're just so strong against in the backline it doesn't even matter. I kind of forgot about that. They have Shadow Power Gem. That basically one-shots us here too. That is a lot different from back in the day when I used to play out Noctowl versus Sableye in old metas. With that said, we are able to knock out the Sableye here, and Azumarill is their final Pokemon. Sky Attack is a very hard-hitting move, but it's not that good of a move, rather. It's not going to knock him out here. We end up getting completely bubbled down. And now, while we do have super effective Trailblaze, the only chance I have of winning this game, I think, is if they shield up this charge move. In comes the first Trailblaze, it does see a no shield. I need to try to Sucker Punch them all the way down, but it's not looking likely here. They are one or maybe two bubbles at most away from reaching another Ice Beam, and because of that, low kicks will likely fall to the next charge attack. They do reach it here in the last second. Unfortunately, not able to win this game with low kicks and Noctowl, but it was a fun one. We almost pulled it back here, despite how bad, I guess, Dugong into Breloom would have been. All right, next game, yikes, dude. Talonflame into our Tinkaton. All right, well, we're getting some good streaks in the first couple of battles, but this is probably the worst Pokemon this team could have seen. We had Tinkaton, Shadow Primeape, and a Rockwanid. I don't even know if I see a second Pokemon in this game. We might just get completely swept by a Talonflame. Okay, well, they pity us a little bit here. They come in with the Drapion. They didn't have to do that. They could have just stayed in with their Talon and just won the game straight up, but thankfully for us, they do swap out into this Primeape here. I'm going to try our best to either draw a shield or get a knockout with this Ice Punch. I think at this point they might just let this go, though. It depends on how much they want to invest in Talon. They do let it go, which means now, unless they let a move go on their Talonflame, this is going to be so hard to win. We go for a potential deny, throwing on alignment here, a very risky play, but it's also our only play. It's like abusing lag, trying to get another rage off, but we still don't even do it despite our best efforts. Tinkaton going to try to come back in here, drain the energy if possible. We have a Rockwanid in the backline. We have a Tinkaton here. This is not going to be looking good. I don't think we see the third Pokemon at this point. They have Flame Charge as well, which is able to not knock us out quite yet, but they have another charge move already ready to go. This one will knock us out, and now our Rockwanid with no faster pressure has nowhere to go. GG to our opponent. Next game, Shadow Cacturne, and we use this a little bit in Spring Cup here. Not just Shadow Cacturne, though, but two Fire-type Pokemon in the backline. I guess, in theory, this is where I want to see the Quagsire. I know Stone Edge basically one-shots us, but we will get a shield advantage, and as you guys might remember from back in the day, shield advantage on Shadow Charizard is amazing. I'm fine no-shielding this. If this is a Stone Edge, we just come in Charizard farm down. If it's an Aqua Tail, we call the bait. It's resisted damage, I guess. It still does about half of our HP, which is kind of crazy. Next Aqua Tail will knock us out. But once again, we can just go for a farm down with our Shadow Charizard, try to use this as a way to sweep the backline. They will reach another charge move here, but it's not going to be enough to knock us out thanks to our shield. Mudshot is resisted, so not a lot of faster pressure has been done to our Shadow Charizard here just yet. Get a full farm down. What are they going to bring in? Our opponent thinking for just a second. I have two very heavy hitting fire type Pokemon in the backline, but one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game, Clodsire, ends up coming in to absorb all of our energy. Shadow Charizard throws the Blast Burn. Will this be enough to two-shot? Easily, actually. Not even close, but they do reach a charge with likely a Sludge Bomb being thrown into our Charizard. I feel like at this point, our win condition, I guess we survived that move. We didn't really try to survive that move necessarily, but I was going to try to just invest everything into a farm down with our Typhlosion. But now, because we no-shielded survived the Sludge Bomb and got a Dragon Claw off, potentially, we are going to have a much nicer win condition where we can go for a Thunder Punch against his Sableye, and then go for a Blast Burn against that Clodsire in the backline. Foul Play does draw a shield. We are 2 more Incinerates away from a Blast Burn. I know they are 6 more Poison Stings away from a Sludge Bomb. There is no way they can win this game. Somehow our double Blast Burn users, double Shadow Blast Burn with a Shadow Cacturne lead, probably the squishiest team I've ever used in the Go Bad League, it was able to win this game. Blast Burn knocks out the Clodsire, somehow takes us a win in this match. Next game, we're going to see Shadow Hitmonchan into Claydol. Well, that's not a good lead, and also our backline is pretty weak to Mud Slap, so I guess we have to stay and try to land an Ice Punch, I guess, against this, but this is not looking great for us right now. I don't know what we can do. Ice Punch being thrown. Does our opponent shield? Of course not. Actually, wait, that's good for us. But it's still not great, because how do I finish this off? I could shield this move up, but they are going to do so much more Mud Slap damage to us. Okay, Rock Tomb, we call the bait. That's good to see, but Mud Slap is doing a lot of damage to us. It's doing a lot of damage to them. Another Core Breaker. They have a Malamar here in the backline, a Pokemon that I do not want to see at all. They outpace us here to a foul play, at least before I throw a charge move, which means I will be forced into going for double Mud Bomb. I wish I had Sludge here. I did not want to TM my Grimer. I felt like that was a waste of TMs, but right now, if I did have Sludge, I'd be a lot happier, do a lot more damage to them. And I have a Weezing in the back, of all things. I am so core broken, it is not even funny. In comes a Mud Bomb. It is able to do a lot of damage, but not quite enough to knock them out here. Man, if I was not lazy, if I would have TM'd off that move and had Sludge instead of Sludge Bomb, maybe we could have knocked out. Foul play being thrown into our Weezing. In comes... They had like 3 Core Breakers to our team. That's not fair. GG to our opponent, though. Crazy battle in that game. Next matchup is a Electrode into a Lapras. All right, well, that's a good lead matchup here. They say swap a Shadow Drapion. We have 2 ground types in the backline, but I'm going to be honest, neither one of them are very consistent into a Shadow Drapion. In comes a charge move from this Pokemon. I know I can survive a crunch here, go for a discharge, try to get a shield, and if I do get a shield, then potentially start farming down with our Pokemon in the back. We come in with our Shadow Nidoking. I know this Pokemon is not the most common pick in the Go Battle League. I know I can survive one move. It's not going to be super well of a survive, but I can survive this Aqua Tail, go for a Sand Tomb, and either knock them out here or come very close to it. Since they've already used a shield themselves this game, I think I'm going to be fine to invest a shield in my Shadow Nidoking, overfarm as much as I can here, go for a Sand Tomb, and potentially, maybe, I can reach an Earth Power against that Lapras. If I can, I can do quite a bit of damage and trip them down into a range where my Electrode, who's already very low, might potentially still have some play. In comes the Earth Power. If they let this go, that's a lot of damage. If they shield this up, I'm also pretty fine by that. They do let it go here. Electrode going to come back in, and we'll see what their final Pokemon is. It's a Morpeko. All right, well, this isn't terrible for Shadow Nidoqueen. It's going to try its best here. Psychic Fangs is super effective damage, though I can survive the first move, and I'm not going to get farmed down by an Electric-type Pokemon. In comes the next couple of fast moves here. They're already at another charge move. I think my only hope right now is tapping my phone screen as fast as I can. I need to farm this down before a final Poison Fang, or Psychic Fangs rather, is going to be reached. We are able to farm them all the way down. Morpeko tried to debuff the debuffer. It is not quite enough for them, though. We were able to get a Poison Fang into this Lapras, and if they shield this, then we're able to go for another one. If they no shield, then I think at this point, they're just in fast move farm down range. Our Electrode can come back in, Volt Switch them all the way down, maybe even just reach a discharge and win that game. GG there to our opponent. Next matchup, Shadow Dusknoir into a Shadow Primeape, a very interesting lead matchup here. We are running Astonish, so we have a lot of fast food pressure, but our opponent is staying in this lead matchup, which is kind of interesting. Makes me wonder if they are weak to Dusknoir in the backline, or if they're just playing this one out because they want to get shields down. I see them instantly swap into a Corviknight, a Pokemon I don't have a hard answer to on this team. We go for a Dynamic Punch, trying to get a bit of raw damage into this Pokemon. Do they shield, or will they just let this go? They end up letting that move through, and now I'm going to go with our Furret, try to get a Sucker Punch down, and get a lot of energy for the backline. In comes a charge with Sky Attack, Iron Head, whatever it's going to be, we can survive. They do go for Sky Attack. Can we Sucker Punch down, though, before they're able to get to another move? I don't think so, so we have to throw a Swift against them before that Iron Head will knock us out. Swift will knock out the Corviknight. At this point, that Primeape, though, will get a nice farm down against us. This is a little bit scary. I know how good Primeape can be myself. Our opponent is using it with a ton of energy right now to a very good effect. They farm us all the way down here. In comes our Shadow Dusknoir. I am going to get one more Astonish into them, but at this point, they're very close to another Rage Fist. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to knock them out with the next Astonish, so I'm going to throw the Shadow Punch instantly, try to get the final shield, and let's see what we can do. It seems like they are a little bit weak to our Dusknoir right now. I'm going to catch this move on a Shadow Marowak, keep our Dusknoir around. If we have any chance this game, I think it's going to be with our Ghost-type Pokemon. Rage Fist does a lot of damage. I say that. Okay, there's a Furret in the backline. Okay, Dusknoir has no chance against that. GG there to our opponent. Next matchup is a Rainy Castform into a Shadow Kanto Marowak. That's a crazy Pokemon to see. Let's see what we can do here, though. Shadow Feraligatr comes in as a Say Swap, a Pokemon that we can potentially go for a Thunder against, but we don't have an answer to this. Honestly, this is like the triple core breaker right now. I'm not sure what we can do. We're going to try our best, though, with Castform to maybe bait a shield with this Weather Ball. We had a good lead, but the thing is, I have no idea how we can win this game right now. Weather Ball is going to get a shield from our opponent, but now our Shadow Haunter is just going to get completely farmed down. I have no way of knocking out this Shadow Feraligatr. This is looking so bad for us right now. Hydro Cannon going to get our shield. We're going to go for a potential CMP on this next Shadow Punch. I'm hoping right now that they did CMP us. If they did, there's a chance that we can win this game. They end up no-shielding the attack, and they come back in with that Marowak. This is so awkward. I've been chipped down so much by that Feraligatr with my cast form. So while we were in a good spot, I have a Macargo in the backline of all things. That's not looking good for us. They come in with a Shadow Jumpluff as well. I'm going to try to swap out if I can, but while I do have 2 Chargeroos on our cast form there, I am in a very precarious spot where I'm not going to be able to survive 1 Mud Slap. We do catch the Acrobatics. Incinerates are doing a ton of damage to this Jumpluff. I think our win condition this game is going to be farming this all the way down, potentially getting a Rock Tomb debuff against them to try to survive a Mud Slap from that Marowak, and then going for an Overheat after the fact. At this point, though, I don't think we have enough in the tank. I can only really get to 2 Charge Boosts if I go for double Rock Tomb. Yeah, we are so low. Maybe I should full send the Overheat, but at this point, I would expect them to shield this move. In comes the Rock Tomb. It is going to be no shield, and we should have gone straight for the nuke. Unfortunately, we get Mud Slap down, and we end up losing that game. But yeah, I mean, overall, a lot of crazy Pokemon today. We got a lot of crazy wins with Pokemon that have no right to even be in the Open Great League right now. But because sometimes your opponents don't expect them, you can surprise them with some pretty fun things and have fun battles like this. So, if you want to enjoy these battles or even participate in Twitch Picks Live, make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. I stream almost every single day. I'd love to see you there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.